Hello, this is Video Game Shark 979, and this is why UCN is not what you think it is. It's not William Afton's hell, it's not William Afton's hell, it's not William Afton's hell, it's not William Afton's hell! Hi. So, I have a slight feeling we might be wrong about Ultimate Custom Night. I mean, did you just hear those voices? It's not William Afton's hell. And I can prove it. Okay, I have piling evidence that I came up with in the span of 2 minutes. Because I was just pondering about FNAF. You know, thinking what the next a good FNAF game would be like. And I thought, you know what, let's have it so that all of the animatronics come back. But then I thought, how would William come back? It's because he always does. Because he never died. The evidence might not sound like much, just out of nowhere, but over time you will learn to understand. It is the crying child's hell. If you don't believe me, just pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. The reason it's the crying child's hell. William Afton was never afraid of his creations. Never once in his life. He's afraid of the spirits that possess them. That is all he is afraid of. But he possesses some of those spirits. Now, why would the crying child be afraid of his father's creations and his father? Because it's obvious he's afraid of his father's creations, but why would he be afraid of his father? Well, this is where the evidence kind of starts stacking up. His father made the creations, and he is a creation now. So naturally, the crying child is going to be even more fearful of him. And you know what? Just let me add on to this. Who knew about the nightmare animatronics? Because guess what? Chances are they were never real. There's a good whopping chance that they were all hallucinations. Caused from a lack of sleep. Because the crying child was staying up all night, fearful of everything his father had created. So that makes it so that those could all just be only within the crying child's mind and nobody else's. So, how would William know about them? Because it's his personal hell. I mean, see at least 2 nightmare animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night. So, like, so far, it seems pretty convincing for me at the moment. But, you see, it's like, that's not it. Like, how do we know William even died? Like, it's implied he died, but we know the crying child died, and we know William can survive almost anything. That's why he was almost brought back in Security Breach. Because he can survive all of this. And now we all think his only remaining part of himself left on the entire planet is Glitchtrap. But that's just not true. He is out there somewhere. Either still as Scrap Trap or even as Burn Trap. Maybe that was canon. Who knows? Like, we all know it wasn't canon in Ruin's timeline, but here's the thing. I know this seems like pretty out of nowhere, but where did we see Ruin be canon? Like, the only thing that could push towards that is the Mimic is in it. That's it. We don't know if Ruin's canon or not. All we know is that we have the books, and we sure as heck have in Security Breach's files. Maybe it still is in there to this day. And you know what? People say that there's a good chance that Monty didn't destroy Bonnie now that Ruin's released. But what if that's all wrong? We don't know any of this. But I'm telling you. Alright, let's go over the evidence in bullet points, okay? Evidence number 1. William Afton is not afraid of his creations. So therefore they would not be in his own personal hell, because he would know very well that those would not be the spirits possessing him. He would know that those aren't the original spirits. He wouldn't know what the nightmare animatronics are. Heck, if he was seeing himself, that's not William's hell. Evidence number 2. Nightmare animatronics could all be stuck in the crying child's mind. Alright, remember that. And since 2 of them are in Ultimate Custom Night, that means there's a very high chance that it's not William. Alright, evidence 3. Who would be afraid of William Afton other than the crying child? He's afraid of William Afton's creations. He's afraid of his father's creations, okay? And when it comes to his father becoming one of his creations, that is when the crying child will be fearful. Over time, they would all slowly come into his own personal hell. Okay, we all know the crying child died long before the events of FNAF 3, FNAF 6, all of that. But we don't know if it came before. Well, okay, so we know it came before all that, but we don't know if they are still being added to his hell. Because think about this. Alright? Think about it. If anyone was to get Michael Afton killed, who would it be? His father, because of the FNAF 6 fire. His father is the reason. Therefore, if said there is about Landmark Freddy being Michael Afton and the crying child being Gregory, which even if they're not, this is still evidence with how people see that now. Like, they could be being added into the crying child's hell, because that's okay. So it's their consciousness. Alright, the souls are all dead, but they're also living in the real world. So William is dead, okay? But he's the only one to be physically trapped inside. So that could very well mean he physically cannot escape from his own hell. His own hell being the spring lock. And that is why I think that Ultimate Custom Night takes place in the crying child's own hell. While you're reading what's on screen, I just want to point out I do not consider Nightmare On to be a Nightmare animatronic. That's why I put there are 7 in Ultimate Custom Night and not 8. Oh yeah, by the way, I almost forgot to add this in the video. Who would be afraid of an animatronic adding another animatronic in, other than the one who's literally afraid of animatronics? Like, it doesn't make sense for William to be afraid of tackling on another one of them, because he's dealt with them before. So he would not be afraid of that. Only the crying child would. Alright, goodbye.